If you're in your 60s and still working, you might find this video really interesting. Whether you're working because you want to, you really enjoy going to work, it gives you that sense of purpose, or if you have to work out of necessity because you can't afford to retire. I'm still working, I'm in my 60s, and I'm going to go through the good, the bad, and the actual truth about working in your 60s, through your 60s and older, viewed through my eyes and my experience. And you might be able to relate to this, and if you do, that's fantastic. So welcome to my channel. If you've been here before, welcome back. If you haven't, my name's Leanne, and I hope you find this video really interesting. So let's get started. I was actually going to start with the good and then go on to the bad, but I reckon I might just rip the band-aid off and we'll get started with the bad and then go into the good things about working in your 60s. So just from my experience, I guess some of the bad things that, well, not bad, but just the negatives that I find working in my 60s is, the number one thing is I'm obviously not as young as I used to be. So I get tired a lot more, a lot faster. So I find that the energy levels aren't there like they used to be in my 20s or 30s. So I've noticed that a bit. So when I say tired, I'm not, some days I am exhausted actually. When I finish work, I come home and I'm in bed early. But I just don't have that energy that I used to have. And I find that when I was working, when I was younger, I would come home and I could still go out, sort of catch up with friends late at night, get by on just a few hours sleep. So it might even be, 5 hours sleep, 6 hours sleep. Now these days that's way too little for me. I need at least 7 hours sleep a night, preferably 8 hours. So that's one of the main things that I find is different, is just that not having that energy like I used to have. So I always make sure that I'm in bed by around 8:30, 9 o'clock, and I do read for a while because I like to sort of just switch off and read a book for a while. But yeah, the other thing I find negative about working in my 60s, I feel that I'm a little bit slower to pick up on things. So I'm still pretty savvy and my job requires me to know a lot about technology. But I find that I have to kind of if I'm learning new things, I have to go over it a bit more. I'm not picking it up as easily as I was in my younger years, where it was just really fast and my brain was just absorbing everything. I'm finding that I have to really sort of focus, and it might take a couple of times over when I'm learning something new to finally actually get it to click in. It's nothing major, but it's just something that I've noticed happening. So I find that that's another thing that I'm quite aware of. My memory is quite good, but I think that falls into learning as well, where it's not as sharp as it used to be. So, and I think because I'm really aware of that, I tend to focus a lot more and just try a lot harder and just understand that it does sort of, if I'm trying to get my head around something, I need to sort of focus a lot more. I hope that makes sense. And the other thing is, I do have a little bit of, I'm just going to lay it out here really bare, because I do sometimes feel, and I know I shouldn't, and most of the time I don't, and I do stop myself from going down that path, but I do feel a little bit ashamed that I didn't, like my friends around me are retiring and I can't retire. I just feel that I should be in a better place than where I am now. So I'm a little bit aware of that. And at times I feel a little bit ashamed with myself for not, just for making, I guess, some financial mistakes in my life and not being in a better position and having to now work and sort of slog it out a little bit and work full time. So, and I do stop myself from going down that path because everyone's had a different journey in their life. And yes, I made some silly mistakes and there's things that have happened in my life that have sort of caused those changes. So I'm aware of when those thoughts creep in, and I don't beat myself up, and I reframe it so that I'm not blaming myself, and it's not saying I'm not being accountable, but I'm looking at the positives and I'm not going to beat myself up over that. But those thoughts do creep in every now and then. And I do things to stop that. So that's another thing that I'm very aware of I don't like that. So I do at times secretly desire to retire, and I do at times just wish that I was in a better position to retire. Having said that, I still enjoy my work and I really enjoy that interaction. The other thing that is I find, which I put in the bad category, is that I'm quite time poor, and because I work 40 hours a week, I don't have a lot of time for anything else, and so my weekends go super fast. By the time I finish work on a Friday night and get home, and then I've got washing to do, I've got my house to clean, I've got shopping to do, errands to run. And I find that, that can absorb most of a day, which leaves one day to sort of rest. So and then I'm trying to fit in all this YouTube stuff as well, which is really time consuming. So I find that I'm quite time poor, and then time goes really quickly. And you would know how this feels as you're getting older. Time seems to speed up. When you're young, it seems forever. You've got the whole world in front of you, and all these years in front of you. So I find that because I'm working full time and I'm rushing around a bit, and then my weekends are spent, catching up with cleaning and shopping and all that kind of stuff, that they go super fast. So the time poor thing is a little bit annoying, and I put that in the bad category because that can be frustrating as well. And also, just some days you just have days where you're just over it and you feel like you're on the hamster wheel, and that doesn't happen too often, because once again I don't allow myself to spend too much time in that space if I'm feeling like that. But there are days where you do feel like it's Groundhog Day. And you just sort of do the same thing over and over. You think, what is my purpose? What is this for? And so I do have those feelings now and then. I don't dwell in the bad. I tend to try and reframe it. So I just wanted to lay out, if you're looking at what the bad things are about working in your 60s, I guess they were the main things that that come up for me that I'm aware of, but I don't spend too much time there. I think about it, I reframe it, and I move on. So, and it's not that I'm sort of pushing it under the rug, because I don't think that's a good idea, but I'm just aware of feeling like that now and then I sort of reframe it into the positives. So the good things, I'm going to go into the positives now, and let's spend a bit more time there, because I think that's more important. So the positive things are, number one, purpose. So we all talk about retiring and how wonderful that is, and look forward to retirement, all that kind of thing. And in one of my previous videos, I talk about that and the downside of retiring. But I really like the fact that I've got purpose in my life, which is going to work. I'm in a very customer focused role where I'm providing a service, and it's all about the customer and trying to create solutions for them, help them with their problems and have a positive outcome. So it's very, very community driven, and I really enjoy that. It's not always easy, but I really enjoy helping people and then solving their problems, and knowing that I have done that. So that's really satisfying. For me, that's really satisfying. I really enjoy that role. So having that sense of purpose, I think, is quite important. Gets me out of bed in the morning. I wake up at 5 o'clock. I'm a morning person, so I bounce out of bed. A bit slower in winter. It's winter here at the moment. But yeah, I just have that sense of purpose, so it just keeps me going, really enjoy it. The other thing I really like is the social interaction. I work in a very tight-knit group of people, small group, and we all support each other. We just have a lot of fun, and if we get a customer or, someone that's not very easy, or they're have been really disgruntled about something, and we tend to cop a bit of that from them. There's a lot of support there. So we're a really nice little close-knit group of people working together. And I really like that. I really enjoy that social interaction, because I can go for a weekend without speaking to anyone sometimes. I mean, I've got friends that I catch up with, but You know, you can be quite on your own, especially if you're like me and you live on your own. So you're totally solo, which I've been for a while. It's really nice to know that you can go to work and have that interaction with people. I think that's really important. It's really good for your, you know, mind, and yeah, it's healthy to do that. The other thing is I really like having a routine in my life. I like the fact that I have to be quite structured. I've got to have structure because I don't have a lot of time. So I know that when I get home, I'll do these few things, keep my house in order, get out of bed at 5 o'clock, go for a walk, you know, tidy my house on the weekend, and cook meals on the weekend so that I can freeze them and have them during the week at work. So I really like the fact that having to work and being time poor gives me that structure to, you know, makes me have that, well, not gives me, but it makes me have that structure in my life. And I think that if I didn't have that, if I was retired, I would really, and I think this is another thing with retirement that people come up against, is they lose that structure. So they flounder a little bit, and they, you know, tend to sort of start getting up out of bed later. The house doesn't get tidied, or things don't get done because you've got all the time in the world to do it. And so I think working full time just, you know, makes you still have that. You've got to be structured. Otherwise, you just would be a mess. You'd be all over the place. So very, very important to have structure. So there's so many good things about working through our, you know, into our later years, going over the bad, you know, it's that, you know, wanting to retire, or if you're doing it by choice, it's sometimes that sort of, you know, bit of Groundhog Day and just feeling like you're on that hamster wheel sometimes. All depends. But yeah, I think there's more good than bad in working in your 60s and beyond. Definitely more good than bad. Don't feel that, especially for those of you that have to work because you can't afford to retire, there's no shame in that at all. You're working and you've got a job, you're earning money. While you're working, you're earning money. You can pay things, you can do things, you can clear debt, you can, you know, it's wonderful while you're getting that bit of money. So there's no shame in working. It's also not about age. It is about what works for you. Age shouldn't even come into it. People should not be categorized because they choose to work through their older years. And I think there's a big movement towards that. I think ageism still comes into it a little bit, and from what I hear, I haven't come up against that too much myself, but the truth is there is ageism out there, and people are getting knocked back or they're getting laid off due to their age. And it's crazy because it is still happening. On the other side of that, there is an awareness that people our age have got a lot to offer. We've got a lot of experience. We work very differently, very loyal, committed. We've got quite different work ethic from, for example, the millennials. Nothing wrong with that. It's just different generations. And I think some companies are starting to realise that. So even though there's still ageism, the offset of that is that there are companies out there that are realising that, and they're seeing the worth in employing people at an older age, which is a great thing. So I think that everyone's journey is different. I think there's more good than bad in working into our older years. There are a few bad things. As I said, yes, we're not as young as we used to be, obviously, and we do feel that at times. But overall, it is your journey. It's our journey, whatever we choose to do. And age is just a number, and it shouldn't come into it. If it's your path and you enjoy doing it for whatever reason, then continue to do so. If you're not enjoying it more than you are enjoying it, then maybe it's time to reassess what you're doing. Look at whether you can jump into a different role or cut back some days. Try and do something about that if you're experiencing more negative energy about working than positive, and you can't turn that around. We are going to get a little bit of negative energy coming in and looking at dwelling on the bad, but if that's happening more than the positive, then for me personally, I would be looking at something else that I could do so that I do feel really fulfilled knowing that I have to keep working into my later years. So I hope that's helped. I hope that you learnt something, or just, yeah, just enjoyed what I've had to say. If you can relate to that or share your experience, I'd love to hear it. So yeah, just let me know below. Thank you.